Let me welcome all these distinguished guests, Excellencies. Ambassador of Hungary to Canada, Her Excellency Maria Vassalazar. Madam Ambassador, you there?
Yes.
The Ambassador of the Czech Republic to Canada, His Excellency Borek Lizek.
Good morning, ladies and
Ambassador of the Slovak Republic to Canada, His Excellency Vít Kozák.
Good morning. Hello.
Good morning. And let me welcome also our special guest, Robert Fry, Director General representing the Global Affairs of Canada. I would also like to welcome our panelists from the CleanTech Sector. There are 4 members of the Canadian business and trade community, and we also have 4 V4 investment and trade agency, as well as the representative representing distinguished embassy. And let me start with saying a few words about the Visegrad Group, and important. We have a very strong relationship with Canada. V4, about 65 million consumers are eager to learn about the business opportunity with Canadian Business Association representative. But before I will start my speech, I would like to turn my voice to the Robert Fry, the Director General of European Affairs to Global Affairs Canada, to say a few words. Mr. Director, if you can say a few words. Are you there?
I am. I'm here. I'm here, Ambassador. Colleagues.
Yeah, good morning. Oh, excellent. Yeah.
Well,
good morning. Always my privilege. Yeah. Can you say a few words of this very important for us, also for Europe and Canada, Visegrad for relations, political relations, business, economics, investment, trade. There is a lot of going on despite the pandemic. It's still the business is booming. Export is quite vibrant, and investment also are eager to learn new realities. Also, Canadian investment quite eager in Central Europe, in particular Visegrad 4. So I turn and ask you to say a few words to our distinguished guests.
Great. Well, good morning, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. And I must say there's a bit of sadness in Canada, or at least in my household this morning, because the Toronto Maple Leafs lost last night to the dreaded Montreal Canadiens.
Oh.
And Canada, and Canada's not doing very well at the World Championships in Riga. So, like, if you notice Canadians down a little bit, you'll know why. But joking. A special thank you, Ambassador Kurnicki, my good friend, and thanks for hosting this event and for inviting me to join you. And also a big hello to Vít, Maria, and Borek. Nice to see you all smiling this morning. I really appreciate being able to share a few thoughts with you. I think this is a really timely session on Canada V4 collaboration for economic recovery and fostering the clean tech sector. So congratulations for you for pulling this together. And I know it's not easy these days in this environment. So I think you've done a great job kind of pulling the people together. I should also say, pass along regrets from Minister Ng. I know she really regrets not being able to join this morning, but she asked me to send along her special event. She's really passionate and feels strongly about strengthening our relationships and growing the clean tech sector. So I know she's disappointed she can't join us, but I'm sure we will pass along the recording. I think we're being recorded this morning in the link, and I will also share the results of today's sessions. It's been over a year since COVID-19 arrived, catapulting us into one of the most difficult periods in modern memory. And while fighting the pandemic, it's become clear now that the tides are turning. I think things are starting to reopen, and I think there's a feeling of optimism. I think around the world, but certainly in Europe and starting here in Canada, though we're a few weeks behind. Now that the vaccines are rolling out across the world, the future is looking brighter, and with this comes the need to explore, the ways we can build back better and create a more resilient future. For me, I think there's two crucial components for us in accomplishing this. One is we must build an inclusive and more sustainable economy. And in this light, I would just point out that Canada is hosting the World Circular Economy Forum in Toronto this fall. It was supposed to be in 2020, but it got moved because of COVID. And I think that really is as we try and grow our economies, we do it in a way that is sustainable for our planet. I think the second component to this is that we must help businesses of all sizes scale up and access dynamic markets. And in this light, I think Canadian businesses really need to know about the dynamic markets that are growing in Poland, the Czech Republic, Hungary, and Slovakia. I mean, really thriving sectors. Your four countries belong to an exciting and fast-growing region in Europe. And this is a great time for Canada to collaborate in that region on areas like clean technologies. Areas that come to mind are things like wastewater management, clean energy, e-mobility. And I know there's really thriving IT sectors in all four of your countries. Slovakia, Vít has often talked to me about, the antivirus companies and the cybersecurity companies that are really growing. Warsaw and Poland have a great kind of IT and gaming sector. So I think there's really a thriving IT sector that's growing, and I'm not sure Canadian companies are really are aware of it. There's also the ambitious EU Green Deal that is, I think can be mutually beneficial and create opportunities for all companies. Canadian companies have technology and solutions that can assist in kind of meeting environmental targets. Canada can also become a strong partner in research and development with the V4 countries. And as you know, on June 15th, we're going to have the Canada EU Summit in Brussels, where Prime Minister Trudeau and Presidents von der Leyen and Michel can talk about these things and research and development and how we can partner with the EU and member states. I think will be top of the agenda. With the Canada-EU Comprehensive Economic Trade Agreement, CETA, in place, Canadian and European companies can access each other's markets easily and efficiently. In that vein, I think I want to just express our appreciation to the governments of the Czech Republic and Slovakia for having ratified CETA and hope that Poland and Hungary will soon follow suit. The EU is Canada's second largest clean tech export market, and some of you may know that. But what's more, within the first year of CETA coming into force, Canadian clean tech exports to the EU grew by 17.5%. So that's really significant, and for me, it kind of validates the value of CETA and how much effort that went into that. There were always doubters to these things, but I think we've really seen the value, and the growth in our bilateral trade has been impressive. Double-digit growth in almost all sectors. On top of this, CETA's strong provisions on the environment and labor, complemented by recommendations on trade and gender, small and medium-sized enterprises, climate action, and the Paris Agreement mean that our increased trade is more sustainable and benefits everyone. And, that's really important. I think if we're going to get our citizens to buy in, I think we need to show that trade, free trade, is benefiting all parts of the economy and all people. This growth means that there's room for countless new opportunities for Canada's small business owners to sell their innovative, world-class products and services to the dynamic and growing markets of your V4 countries. And as many of you know, Canada is a hotbed of entrepreneurship. And I know you've visited businesses and talked to Canadians. 99% of our businesses are small and medium-sized enterprises. And I'm sure it's similar in your countries. Canada is a good place to start a business. Small and medium-sized businesses, frankly, are the backbone of our economy and the heart of our communities across Canada. Their success is absolutely essential to our economic recovery, and that's why the government is focused on helping them succeed and benefit from new opportunities in global markets. And I think part of the session today for us is really to encourage Canadian businesses to look to the V4 countries for new opportunities, particularly as we rebuild our economies after COVID. I think it's a time to really build those new relationships, build those new links. And I think these kinds of opportunities, these kinds of sessions like we're having today, I think really opens people's eyes a lot. You know, Canadian businesses, Canada has kind of business-friendly incentives as well for V4 companies to settle here. We have a good tax environment. It's an ideal destination for leading V4 countries to grow their businesses in a safe, stable, and rules-based environment. I think you know this, but doing business with Canada means you can count on political and economic stability, expertise, innovative talent, highly skilled, well-educated, and a diverse workforce. So I think there's benefits, frankly, for both. I think there are good reasons for Canadian companies to invest and to build those linkages with the growing opportunities in the V4 countries. And I think there are great opportunities for V4 companies to come and look to Canada, you know, as an entry to the North American market in a stable and prosperous environment. So again, ambassadors, thank you for having me today. Thanks for inviting me to speak, and I hope it's a great session today. So back to you, Ambassador Kurnicki.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this thoughtful and incredible lay down the opportunity, business opportunity between Visegrad 4 and Canada. And I want to only stress that no doubt that 21st century will require from all of us to focus on the climate change and climate diplomacy. And one of the most important, but least understood aspects of the Paris Agreement is that the legal obligates every country to deepen its emission reduction targets every 5 years. So this creates opportunity or also challenges and additional costs. But no doubt that the climate also will improve the business opportunity as well as the quality of life for all of us. As the COVID-19 pandemic has demonstrated, no country is immune from the actor-less threats like disease outbreaks and climate change. The EU institutions and the V4 in particular has incorporated climate change into its data-driven approach and business analysis. For Visegrad 4, tackling the climate crisis at home and abroad, establishing the climate agenda is one of the essential elements of V4 foreign policy, national security, and the public policy priorities. The V4 politicians and policymakers recognize that the workforce and technology will need to advance and adapt new policy with close cooperation with the private sector to serve climate missions and to reach the positive outcomes. And we count on Canada, the public decision maker, the stakeholders, small and medium-sized corporations. The main task for the public and private sector as well is to not only reach the objective of the climate goals, but also to improve the quality of life for all of us. The V4 stakeholders, the top decision maker, understand that the problems of encourage climate diplomacy, business communities, investors and science to work efficiently and to propose workable solutions to meet the future challenges. The challenges require more capital investment and more resources into artificial intelligence, the machine learning capabilities that can inform, that is very important, the public opinion and the stakeholder of growing risk related to unlimited cost of climate change for all of us. Unlimited cost, like the pandemic is unlimited cost because it's unmeasurable, the consequences that the same of climate change is unlimited cost to all of us, to the society as well as to the business. Compared to the 20th century, when public policy was dominated by the governments, the 21st century offers more democratic forms of mutual collaboration. The private sector offers more capabilities to collect and analyze critical data and then to use wisely by the decision makers at all levels. Can we put on that? let me put a few numbers related to the data on Visegrad 4 that maybe a little bit summarize what the potential economic or investment opportunity for the Canadian corporation. We are a group that total of population of 65 million. So it's almost twice the size of Canada, but at the same time, the central location make the Visegrad 4 unique for the business, for business-minded or profit-driven Canadian corporation, from the small and medium-sized corporation, which is a very innovative and very effective driven technology, including the technology from CleanTech. Next one. And as you see on the chart, the Visegrad 4 as one group in the region would be the 5th largest economy in Europe and 12th in globally. So there is a potential not only the consumer market, but also the growing, quite dynamic GDP grow every year. So we on average, if we calculate on average, the GDP grow the last year was something around -1%, 0. This year we expect something between 5–6% on average growth for V4 countries. The population, as I mentioned, is 64 million. Consumer and would rank as a 22nd largest in the world and 4th in Europe. So it is a quite substantial market, vigorous and demanded market. 20% of all cars manufactured in EU came from V4 countries. And here is probably Slovakia will be the leader of the Visegrad Group in terms of the car manufacture, but also Czech, Poland too, and Hungary. All countries belong to the international organizations such as EU, NATO, and OECD, which is a guarantee for stable, predictable policy in terms of the legal rule of law, as well as the constitutional rights that are being observed. V4 countries were ranked amongst the fastest growing European economies before the pandemic, and we expect, based on OECD, the economy will really grow quite rapidly for the next few years. Central European countries are clearly among the winners when it comes to the growth of international trade in recent decades. Trade and investment. The nominal investment, which means the corporations or international investors buying corporate or government bonds, but in terms of the real investment or direct investment, the V4 countries are the target for many investors, including Canadian corporations from high-tech, aerospace, as well as the clean technology sector. The volume of export in each Visegrad 4 country is about 7 to 10 times higher than in 2000. The export growth is one of the engine of our growth for Visegrad 4. So during even the pandemic, the export expand quite rapidly, mainly to the European country, but also we hope that the Canada will be also the target for our investors as well as traders. The GDP is about 1.2% in total, but in terms of the trade, it's almost 3 times higher than the real GDP in terms of the world trade. As an investor destination, V4 are the leader in Europe. So that's very important. We have a lot of mineral resources, but we have a lot of also import, mainly from natural gas and a lot of minerals, including from Canada. So we have a lot of import oil or energy from United States, which 30% of them are component of Canadian oil and gas. We try to reduce as much as we say oil and gas, switching to energy-friendly type of sector like electric buses or cars, which Visegrad Group is the largest producer of electric buses in Europe, as well as the largest producer of electric batteries for the cars. Visegrad Group in the last 20 years really undergone the successful economic transformations. And today, the main engine of our growth is the private sector. And particularly, Director Rai said about Canada, small and medium-sized corporations are the bone of our growth, or our invention, know-how, new patents being created mainly by the small and medium-sized corporation, not only for domestic market, but also for export. So Visegrad 4 are based on small and medium-sized corporation grow, but also export investment, one of the key components of our GDP growth. Visegrad countries are embedded in global value chain, and we understand that this pandemic also will change the perception of our cooperation with the global framework, and we're moving to the I would say more stable, more predictable partners of doing trade and investment. And Canada is on the top. Know that based on the criteria from OECD and investment banks, Canada is a very predictable, solid, long-term partner. That's what this sort of partner we need for trade, investment, cooperation, science, and exchange program that will lead to the very profit-driven type of entities that have been established between Canadian corporations and V4 entities. What I see as a perspective is the clean technology being used in energy sector. This sector will be transitioned from coal, mainly in Poland, to more friendly type of energy supply resources based on know-how, new invention. So we count also on Canadian corporation that have a lot of new inventions, are very active. We hope also that the Visegrad 4 will be sort of a hub for the Canadian corporation to expand in Europe. So total market for Europe is about 500 million, not count, of course, UK or Turkey, which is a close partner for European Union. But 500 million consumer, it's a really very solid, much higher than the United States market for the Canadian corporation. We hope that Visegrad Group will be the hub for Canadian small and medium-sized corporations to expand in Europe because of the lower cost, labor cost, high-skilled labor force. So there is a lot of assets in Visegrad 4 countries, including very stable political and social situation, positive dynamic GDP growth despite pandemic, low level of inflation, very low unemployment, well-educated people and labor force, engineering and technical skills is one of the best in Europe, strong high-tech sector open to the new ideas and business-minded people, well-diversified economies with strong banking sector and capital market. So there is no even, I would say, deficiency in terms of the capital market or banking sector. It's a contrary. The banking sector in Visegrad 4 countries are very vibrant, very dynamic, well-run banking sector, eager to lend the money for solid, good project with Canadian corporation. Capital market also supply capital to the small and medium-sized corporation directly from the private sector or private investor as well as from the institutions. There will be sort of summary of Visegrad 4 economic. Here you see some of the data, very low inflation, very low unemployment. Government debt for each country is very in a manageable position, a much better situation than in a lot of different countries. The balance trades are really positive for all of the countries. Export is also very strong. Labor cost and the quality speak for the Visegrad 4 compared to the Western Europe. So my idea and always my message to the Canadian investor, if you like to expand in Europe, Visegrad 4, it's not only central location in Europe, but if we compare the comparable cost of labor, high skill engineer technicians, and the potential of growing the European, Visegrad 4 is the best place to invest, to trade, to export from Canada to Europe. Let me turn my attention right now to our ambassadors. If you have a few words, I will start with Madame Ambassador of Hungary, Madame Maria Eva Salazar. If you can say a few words, Madame Ambassador.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Kurnicki, dear colleagues, Your Excellencies, Director General, dear Rob. It is truly an honor for me to say a few words at the event organized by the Polish presidency of the Visegrad Cooperation on V4 Canada collaboration for economic recovery and promoting the CleanTech sector. I would like to start by saying thank you to Ambassador Kurnicki for hosting this topical event. Post-COVID economic recovery is clearly a key issue for all of our countries, and the focus on new technologies, and in particular on clean technologies, is at the heart of this dynamic. There's a growing realization among governments that green economic transition is the right model for economic revitalization after the pandemic. The European Union has recently launched a robust economic recovery package addressing green and digital transformation. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán announced in February 2021 that green energy will play a key role in the relaunch of the Hungarian economy. When talking about boosting clean technologies and looking at the bigger picture of global commitments to tackle climate change, I'm proud to say that Hungary was the first country in the European Union to conclude the ratification process of the Paris Agreement. Hungary was the 7th country in the world that codified in law the objective of reaching climate neutrality at the national level by 2050. The law also affirms Hungary's 2030 national target of a 40% cut in emissions compared to 1990. Hungary shares the European Union's ambitious joint nationally determined contribution, which was updated last December by increasing the previous 40% goal to at least 55% emission reduction by 2030. Under the leadership of President János Áder, a dedicated promoter of sustainability and the fight against climate change, Hungary has been turning these ambitions into actions. By 2018, Hungary had reduced its greenhouse gas emissions by 1/3, 33%, compared to the 1990 level, while concurrently achieving significant economic growth. Our per capita GHG emissions are only 3/4 of the EU average, which is the 6th best result. Worldwide, only 20 countries can claim that they were capable of achieving economic growth while substantially reducing GHG emissions. As a result of the ongoing development of solar and nuclear capacities, electricity generation in Hungary will be 90% carbon-free by 2030. Renewable programs were not suspended during the pandemic. By the end of 2020, nearly 90,000 home solar energy production points were producing electricity, which is a yearly increase of 50%. The 2030 goal is to connect 200,000 households to the solar electricity production. In order to meet our commitment to clean energy transition, we have adjusted our energy and climate strategies. The last remaining coal-fired power plant will phase out its lignite-fired blocks by 2030 at latest, perhaps even as early as 2025. Contributing to international efforts in this particular area, Hungary joined the Powering Past Coal Alliance in March 2021, an initiative led by Canada and the UK. I would also like to emphasize that Hungary is pursuing these ambitious goals with a pragmatic and realistic approach. We strongly believe that tackling climate change and fostering green transformation should be based on a viable economic foundation. Keeping competitiveness is an essential part of our approach. We can only be winners of fighting climate change if our economies continue to be competitive. That is the very reason why clean technologies should be in the center of a successful transformation. Clean technologies that strengthen competitiveness, increase productivity while providing sustainable and environment-friendly solutions. Hungary has not only joined international efforts to tackle climate change and promote green economic transformation, we have also hosted a few large events with the objectives of bringing together policymakers, industry experts, corporate leaders, technology experts, and next generation sustainable leaders to share their perspectives on how to enable businesses and the civil society to deliver actions necessary to achieve climate objectives. Under the patronage of President Ader, Hungary hosted the Budapest Water Summits in 2013, 2016, and 2019. Last year, in October, we organized the first Budapest Climate Summit, an event focusing on green transition in Central and Eastern Europe. Last year, later this year, it's just because of COVID, we are shifting with the dates. Later this year, under the upcoming Hungarian presidency of the V4, Hungary will host the Planet Budapest 2021 Sustainability Expo and Summit. This event will take place between November 29th and December 5th in Budapest. Building on cooperation among Visegrad countries, the objective of the summit is to contribute to sustainable development by offering widely applicable, innovative, and pragmatic solutions to the challenges of sustainable development, especially in the field of smart cities, sustainable water management, food production, waste management, energy, and transport. Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, let me highlight that the V4 countries are the economic engine of the European Union. Our region has a growth rate above the EU average. As for Hungary, the GDP growth rate in 2019 was 5%, and the projections for 2021 show that our economy will bounce back fully, reaching 5% growth rate again. This dynamic development, coupled with low tax rates, such as the flat 9% corporate income tax and the flat 15% personal income tax, skilled labor force, and developed infrastructure, make Hungary a particularly competitive country for investments. Foreign investors, especially in the technology-driven areas, can also enjoy substantial incentive packages for FDI projects in Hungary. The growth rate and dynamic development of the innovation and technology sectors in the V4 underlines the importance and value of strengthening cooperation between Canada and the Central European Group of the Visegrad 4. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Madam Ambassador. A really great presentation, a very great country, Hungary, long history, and very vibrant, dynamic economy, very innovative. So thank you very much. And I will turn my attentions to Ambassador Witkowiak. Ambassador Witkowiak represents the Slovak Republic. If you can say, Ambassador, a few words on behalf of Slovakia.
Thank you very much. Good morning, and many thanks to our Polish friends for organizing this event and for wonderful advocacy of Visegrad 4. And we are always glad to join forces with our neighbors to showcase a strong economic and innovation performance of Central Europe. And let me firstly highlight relations, excellent relations between Slovakia and Canada. We enjoy long-term friendly relations based on common values of democracy, human rights, and rule of law. And this is also important for business relationships, as we all know these days. We are close partners and allies, and the only arena, and Robert Fry already alluded to this, where we put our mutual sympathy aside is hockey. And by the way, did you know that Slovakia is actually exporting hockey pucks to Canada? Let me show you.
Oh, look at this.
It's a Slovak company, Vigam, that is one of the leading manufacturers of hockey pucks in the world. And I'm sure Robert Fry plays only with Slovak hockey pucks.
That's good. That's a trade manifestation, Ambassador. That's right.
They have microchips in them, though, so they only go into the Canadian net and not the Slovak net. So be careful.
Well, that's already artificial intelligence, that is involved in this. Yeah. So Slovakia, just a small reminder, is a member of the European Union since 2004. Our dynamic and highly industrialized economy is strongly pro-export oriented. It's one of the most open economies in the world. Only in the export of goods, GDP ratio represents more than 84%. Certainly, we are fully integrated in the European internal market of 450 million people. We joined Eurozone, and we are proud that we adopted Euro in 2009. We are still the only country from the Visegrad Group to have Euro. Slovakia ratified CETA, a free trade agreement between the EU and Canada in 2019. And for us, it is a cornerstone of trade and business relations with Canada. And it certainly goes beyond the trade. It is a point of reference for our overall relationship. The focus of the Slovak economy is on high value-added projects and investments, R&D and innovation. And there are many opportunities for cooperation in IT, cyber, artificial intelligence, big data, clean technologies, aviation, space industry, medtech, biotech, space, energies, hydrogen, and I could go on. Dealing with the current pandemic, we take pride also in our world-class products, such as the ICU lung ventilators Aura 5 of the Slovak company Hirana, that is saving lives at home and abroad. Their production was recently launched in the United States, and I hope they'll be soon available also in Canada. In the Slovak CleanTech, you can find a wide array of smart solutions, from a flying car by Aeromobile to waste management by Sensonio, from plasma drilling technology by GA Drilling to self-sustainable house called by the Ecocapsule company, and even an ecological toothbrush by EcoHeart, and many more. Special attention deserves certainly our automotive industry, because Slovakia is an automotive powerhouse, producing the highest number of cars per capita in the world, about 1 million a year. The sector makes 1/3 of the Slovak industrial production and about half of our overall export. Canadian companies are already benefiting from this large sector. Companies such as Martin Ria and Magna, who are successfully operating in Slovakia. Naturally, Slovakia is well engaged in the shift to green mobility. Last year, Slovak company Inobat Auto launched the world's first customized intelligent electric vehicle battery that is developed through a combination of artificial intelligence and HTP technology. It can actually meet the requirements of any vehicle and automaker up to 10 times faster and more efficiently and less expensively than competitors. Electric vehicles need infrastructure, and there is a Slovak company, Greenway, that is the largest provider of electric vehicle chargers in our region. Regarding the economic situation in Slovakia, the IMF report from last May states that our country faced the COVID-19 situation and pandemic from a position of strength, and effective policy support has limited the economic fallout. Both IMF and the National Bank of Slovakia project a strong recovery, with real GDP growth reaching about 5% this year and more in 2022. The Slovak labor market has remained also quite resilient and is well known for its well-educated and well-motivated workforce. Very recently, we had a webinar also with our colleagues from Visegrad, and the co-founder of the Canadian company Spin Master, Ben Vardy, highlighted Slovaks as dedicated, very smart, hardworking, and with incredible work ethic. For climate change is a fact, and it happens fast. The European Union is the leader, and all its member states. And current pandemic recovery, we see it all around, is accelerating green and digital transitions. and Slovakia considers them as priorities. We will greatly benefit from the modernization and recovery tools set up by the European Union, and our partners can benefit with us. Out of 6 billion euros allocated for the Slovak Recovery and Resilience Plan, more than 2 billion euros will go into our green economy, renewable resources of energy, renewal of buildings, sustainable transport, decarbonization of the industry, the adaptation to climate change, and the rest, still very important, to digitalization, strengthening science, attracting talents, and much more. To conclude, let me say that current times provide unprecedented opportunities for cooperation and partnership of our region with Canada. We are also in a global race for setting standards, and joining forces between the EU countries such as ours and strategic and trusted partners as Canada should make the best political and economic sense to all of us. And let me say, last sentence, every Canadian partner and investor is very warmly welcome in Slovakia, as well as ice hockey players that play also in our national ice hockey league. I mentioned the other day that in a small town I was born in Eastern Slovakia, there are 5 ice hockey players for Canada that play there, and we almost made it to semifinals. Maybe next year. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Ambassador. We wish the Slovakia to make the next time advance to the top level. We also have some legacy of the Polish-Canadian hockey. We have the legacy of Walter Gretzky, the father of Wayne Gretzky. Both parents of Walter Gretzky was born in around Grodno. Today is the Białorussia, but to the Polish family. So anyway, we have something, but our team is not as good like Canada, Czech, or Slovak. We still have a dream team to be managed for the next few years at least. So thank you very much, Ambassador. Thank you very much, Kozak. I would like to ask also Ambassador of the Czech Republic, Borek Lizek, to say a few words. Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Good morning. What a pleasure to be here and help identify ways how to promote cooperation between V4 and Canada in the post-COVID recovery in clean tech. Many thanks to the Polish presidency. I greatly appreciate Andrzej's all work of Andrzej and his team. Thank you very much. Before the pandemic, for several years, the Czech Republic ranked among the fastest growing countries of the European Union. For 2 years, we exceeded 5% growth rate. As Canada, our country went into the crisis with solid macroeconomic indicators, public debt around 30%, almost zero unemployment. And we certainly hope that this will help us in the post-COVID recovery. The European Union, including the V4, will work together to restart our economies and their modernization, which should be, of course, inherent part of the process. Our national recovery plan is part of the Next Generation EU plan and the Recovery and Resilience Facility, which foresees investment in our country of 7.5 billion euros in grants and 15 billion euros in loans. The first half destined for grants should go into infrastructure and explicitly green transition. Our science has a long and remarkable tradition. Cell theory, blood types, contact lens, and the most effective compound to combat HIV were discovered by Czech scientists. And our researchers also were active and quickly responded to the COVID crisis, offering nanomasks produced on a mass scale, also open source software, for example, 3D printing 3D face shields by the company Prussia 3D, or open source hardware, low cost, quickly to produce, and by the EU awarded ventilator Corovent. In accordance with our innovation strategy, which was adopted by our government, of course, as many of you said, also science, also in our case, and innovation should be an important part of our recovery strategy. And explicitly, of course, we mention international cooperation in R&D, and Canada is listed as one of our key partners. We have several instruments to finance our cooperation in research, bilateral ones with Canada, which stress and also target clean tech, for example, advanced materials and batteries, as well as multilateral instruments, which can be used exactly in the V4 Canada format, of course, starting with a robust European Union instrument, Horizon Europe. The Czech Republic is able to rely on a strong industrial tradition, which today translates to the highest share of industry in the economy in the European Union, specifically 32.1%. This industrial capacity, of course, enhances our ability to develop and to produce technologies, not only in clean tech. Of course, modernization of our industrial base is part of our recovery plans, including transition to 4.0 industry. Our economies have been taking part in European Union presentations of clean tech capacity in Canada. So to give you a little bit of a taste what the Czech clean tech looks like, I would like to show you a few examples of Czech clean tech technologies which were part of these European Union events. Let me start quickly PowerPoint slide for that. So the first company, Brands, manufactures smart, sustainable material absorbing noise and retaining water. It has a surface of artificial lawn and vegetation carpets. Originally, this was developed for trams to reduce noise in cities and at the same time temperature in the summer. It is produced from recycled textiles, for example, from car industry, which, by the way, in the Czech Republic, as Andrzej mentioned, after Slovakia, we have the second largest production of cars per capita in the European Union. Second company, RCT Tech, offers a revolutionary solution for construction industry, produced from 100% recycled concrete rubble with admixture of nanomaterials. This technology enables major waste reduction, lowers carbon emissions, and also by having a lower thermal conductivity, it also reduces energy consumption of buildings. Visegrad Group introduces slow thermal decomposition technology, leading to an economic and energy self-sustainability of various productions. Inexpensive recycled plastic can, through this technology and also other waste, be turned into electricity and fuel. And finally, FN Nano offers special unique nano coating, which uses photocatalytic technology. And basically, through light, using light, it prevents the spread of bacteria and viruses, including COVID-19, purifies air and also water, protects surfaces from dirt, and also reduces greenhouse gas emissions. And let me also, finally, I would like to conclude by saying that illustrate on this company that we at the Czech Embassy certainly do not shy away from taking advantage of the Czech clean tech innovations. FN Nano installed its coating on our embassy building inside our consular section waiting room and made it a safer place, not only during the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as outside on the facade, and made our office carbon neutral by compensating for carbon emissions of all our cars. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Borek Lisek, Ambassador of the Czech Republic. Great presentations, as always. Czech is well known for high-tech, Slovakia and Hungary. So I want to turn to the next panel. We have a very distinguished guest representing the CleanTech Sector Canada panel, including Madame Mike Althouse, Executive Director of Ontario Clean Technology Industry Association, Jonathan English, Policy Director of the Toronto Region Board of Trade, Madame Emily Vachon, Senior Director, Partnership and Networking, Ecotec Quebec, and Mr. David Team, Senior Director, Global Head of the Public Affairs, Northland Power Incorporations. So first I will start with Madame Mike Althouse to say a few words. Madame.
Yeah, good morning, Ambassador Kurnicki. Thank you very much for having me today for this wonderful opportunity. And thank you, estimated ambassadors, for the excellent presentations and insights. I have prepared a quick presentation to illustrate my points, which I'd like to share, and I hope this is going to work. Okay, no. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we're getting there. Okay. Hope you're able to see my screen now. You should be.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Oh, yet something on the left side, yes.
Okay, excellent. Let's see the presentation. Oops. All right.
Almost, yes. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Here we are, yeah.
So I'm wearing two hats. I'm the Executive Director of the Ontario Clean Technology Industry Association and the Canada Clean Tech Alliance. So today I'm bringing an Ontario perspective, but I have a pan-Canadian perspective and insights as well. I'm happy to share. So a few words about Octia. Octia was founded in 2019, not too long ago, to become the voice of the Ontario clean tech sector. There was a perceived need for an Ontario representation of the clean tech sector with the mandate to advocate, educate, and connect people, organizations, and clean tech solutions, and to showcase Ontario's clean, innovative technologies. As you can see, the membership of today, about 70 members, is very diverse, representing the full spectrum of the clean tech sector, covering renewables, agri-tech, green chemistry and materials, over to water technologies, energy efficiency, and storage. Founding members are companies such as Chart Technologies, Climate Innovation Capital, Morgan Solar, Smarter Alloys, also pretty diverse and representative of Octia's membership. I think we covered that, the Octia services. I'd like to spend a few words on how we define clean tech, because I will present a few numbers regarding the Ontario clean tech sector. And to understand these numbers, it's important to understand what definition we're basing these numbers on. So clean tech, as we define it, is novel technology, a novel technology, service, or process that improves economic performance and reduces environmental impacts. So based on that definition, Ontario has about 34,000 employees in the clean tech sector. That's very strong and more than anywhere else in Canada. Ontario is followed, though, by provinces such as Quebec and BC, also very strong in terms of clean tech. And thanks to organizations like the Alberta Clean Technology Alliance, Alberta has seen strong growth of its clean tech sector as well over the last years. Clean tech jobs are generally high-paying jobs with an average compensation of around 90,000. Two-thirds, actually over two-thirds, I think it's almost 90% of Canada's clean tech companies are exporters. And Ontario being strong in terms of clean tech, the export revenue of Ontario's companies in 2018 was $5.7 billion, contributing $12 billion to Ontario's gross domestic product. What are the top export destinations for Canada's and Ontario's clean tech companies? Of course, our neighbor to the south, the United States, is at the top of the list, but followed by the EU, Japan, China, and India. And so it is really great to see that at the moment, there are many initiatives being launched to foster collaboration, to foster the adoption of clean tech across the globe, because of course the global climate crisis needs global cooperation and global solutions. And frankly, we need all the solutions that are out there. And I'm going to talk about global collaborations and what's being done in Ontario at the moment further down the road. I'd like to take a look at the technology concentrations in Ontario. Top of the list are energy efficiency technologies, renewables, non-emitting energy sources, clean materials and manufacturing, water and waste management. Of course, transportation is a big one, the whole EV supply chain, bioproducts and fuels, and storage and smart grid applications. One of the, what I would say biggest collaboration opportunities, fostering collaboration with, I called it V4 plus countries, because the list is broader than that, as you can see, has been launched by the Toronto Clean Energy Partnership. It is based on a successful project with Helsinki, with the city of Helsinki. Helsinki wanted to decarbonize their district heating system, and so Toronto formed a cluster and a consortium to address these challenges, and went in with a bid. And because this was quite successful, Toronto decided to expand that. And so at the moment, there is a series of webinars looking at different export markets in Central and Eastern Europe. And the purpose of this initiative is to foster collaboration between Canadian companies. So the cluster and the consortium will go beyond the Toronto area and include other Canadian companies. And so it's really a great initiative to foster collaboration with these countries and to address the challenges and the global climate crisis. Again, I covered that. So value proposition is a win-win for both Canadian and partner city companies and cities. And that concludes my my short presentation. If there are any questions or opportunities for collaboration or presentations to facilitate collaboration, please feel free to contact me or the chair of the Ontario Clean Technology Industry Association, Peter MacArthur, who, as he likes to say in his day job, is RBC's National Clean Tech Lead. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madame. It's a really great presentation, and also allowed us to think that the Ontario Corporation in Clean Tech have a lot of export international. So that's something may assume that there is already track record been established working with the corporation in Central Europe, in particular in Visegrad 4. So we count on more investment as well as cooperation and collaboration. So I will turn my attentions to Mr. Jonathan English, the Policy Director of Toronto Regional Board of Trade, to say a few words.
Hello. So thank you very much for inviting me to this event. It's a real pleasure, and I think that anything that we can do to strengthen and build the relationship between Canada, the Toronto region, and the Visegrad Group countries is incredibly valuable. Obviously all of your countries are incredibly dynamic economically and have made tremendous progress. I've had the pleasure of visiting all of them, and it is really remarkable to see the economic growth, the growth in physical infrastructure that is taking place there. So coming back to the region that I'm from here, the Toronto region, I think that there's also a tremendous economic opportunity here. We're the fastest growing region in North America now, fastest growing urban region. We're adding around 100,000 people every year. The sort of broader Toronto region, call it the Greater Golden Horseshoe, has over 9 million people. So this is a large market. This is a large economic region, and it's a diverse economic region. So we have a diverse economy ranging from finance, insurance, real estate, to manufacturing, to technology, and enormous technology industry growth here, including biotechnology, which is always critical. We know right now, artificial intelligence, and also the education sector, some of the largest universities in North America. So I think one of the things to focus on here, obviously, given the topic of the event, is clean technology. And when we look at Ontario really is a bit of a model in several ways of decarbonization. Ontario, for example, has managed over the past 2 decades to radically decarbonize its electricity sector. It used to be a very carbon intensive electricity sector about 20 years ago, a lot of coal fired generation. But today, the province is over 90% carbon free. And in many ways, it's following a similar path that Visegrad Group countries are following themselves. A strong foundation of nuclear power, which provides a great deal of baseload power for the grid. Also, substantial additions of wind and solar over the recent years, building on the existing hydroelectric assets that in many cases have been around for 50 plus years. Niagara Falls, obviously, is well known to everyone. So, I think Ontario really has the opportunity to share that example with the world, to share it as a realistic and achievable technologically and also financially approach of decarbonizing the electricity sector as one example. We also have substantial players in the broader clean tech sector, and like the Visegrad Group, we're a large automotive assembly center and also automotive parts manufacturing center, and we're really looking quite hard in the broader Toronto region to shift dramatically and rapidly to the production of zero emissions and dramatically reduced emissions automobiles. So we have 3 major investments happening right now in converting existing auto assembly plants to battery electric vehicles. Now, I think that this presents a real opportunity because we have a very strong and established supply chain in North America for producing automobiles for the North American market. But as we rebuild our automotive sector to meet the zero emissions challenge, there's a real opportunity to broaden the scope of the auto market so that it isn't just a North American one, but it is a global one. Europe obviously is a leader in the world. Europe is the entire European Union is a leader in producing and also consuming zero emissions vehicles, for example. And that's a market that works for Canada, but Canada could also be a market for European exporters who are leading on the technology front, whether it's producing parts like batteries and also producing vehicles as a whole. It's going to be a different supply chain, and Canadian companies like Magna, for example, are adapting very quickly to this new world. From a bigger picture standpoint, Canada is a major and diverse exporter, but we have traditionally been very dependent on the US market for both imports and exports, especially. It's long been an aspiration to broaden Canada's export destinations and broaden Canada's trade, but right now I think the opportunity is bigger than ever. Visegrad Group countries in particular present tremendous opportunities for trade in both directions. See it as an unprecedented change. We finally have the agreement, the formal agreement that allows companies to have certainty and understand that there is going to be a long-term secure trade relationship between Canada and the European Union. And I think when Canadian companies look at the European Union, they're going to be quite intrigued by the fastest growing part of the EU, which is in Central and Eastern Europe. These are not, however, traditional markets for Canadian companies. We haven't had the kind of trade relationship in the past that we would like to have. We have huge communities in Canada from all of the Visegrad countries. There are a lot of human relationships that we need to build on to grow the economic relationship between our two countries. So at the Toronto Region Board of Trade, for example, one of the parts of the Toronto Region Board of Trade is the World Trade Center Toronto, and it has a number of programs. Specifically the TAP and MAP programs, which are all about promoting the export growth of small businesses in Canada. We have big companies in Canada that export globally, but we want to make sure that small companies have the technology, have the regulatory understanding and experience, and the logistical understanding and expertise to broaden their markets, broaden their trade globally, whether it's in exporting their final product or sourcing components and raw materials. So that's a little bit about what we're doing and what we're hoping for in the Toronto region and at the Toronto Region Board of Trade. So again, thank you very much for inviting me, and I hope that someday we'll be traveling again and I'll be able to visit your countries again. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jonathan English, the Policy Director of the Toronto Regional Board of Trade. We need more trade. We need more investment between Canada, Ontario, and the Visegrad 4. The trade is quite booming, I would say. The total trade between Visegrad and Canada is something around 5-6 billion trade, but indirect it's probably twice as much, because there's a lot of being import, like say from the United States with component from Canada, a lot of being export to Canada with the component from the Visegrad 4, like car business, okay, in the auto business, and then export under the European name, I don't know, Germany or something, but being produced in Slovakia, Poland, Czech, or Hungary. So the real trade, direct and indirect, is something around, I would say, 10 billion. But we can easily double this size of trade between Canada and Visegrad Group in the next few years. I hope that will be the case. So thank you very much again, Madame Emily Bergeron-Vachon, the Senior Director, Partnerships and Networking, Ecotec Quebec. Quebec is well known for high tech. A lot of them cooperate with Visegrad 4, including CleanTech, electric engines. So I would like to see and hear from Madame Director a few words on behalf of Ecotec Quebec.
Hello, everybody, distinguished members of Visegrad Group.
Hello.
And hello to my colleagues from Canada. I wish I had a hockey joke for you, and I'm gonna let Mr. Fry and Mr. Koschak just have theirs, and I'm going to be very boringly gender normative and tell you I don't know the first thing about it, except that I have been hearing last night joyful honking in the streets when there is a goal. So that's my connection to hockey. So I do have some slides today for you, and I'm going to zip through them. I have more than I need. and I will just I can make them available for you if you need afterwards. Can you see them? Here, I'm trying to full screen. You see them? All right. So this is my slide, and this is me, Amélie. This is my agenda, but it'll be like 1 minute for each point. So a tiny bit about Quebec, tiny bit about Ecotec, a tiny bit about CleanTech in Quebec, then our Quebec's plan for green economy and international collaborations. So Quebec, I made a map. I mean, I didn't make this, but there it is. So it's often seen by people as the entry point to North American markets. And we have like most of our energy is green and renewables. So if the people who want to produce different things here, they can, you know, it can improve their overall greenhouse gas balance to produce their products here, and it's also quite cheap, and water is also quite cheap. So we do have a plan in Quebec to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by a lot, and I'll be talking about it a tiny bit later. So Ecotec Quebec, we're a non-profit organization, and what we do is we mobilize the entire ecosystem to accelerate the development, commercialization, deployment of clean tech. So that's what we do. And then, so by ecosystem, this is everybody that I mean. So we're talking about clean tech companies, R&D services and research centers, training facilities, accelerators, people who finance clean tech. So really everybody involved. And then we do a lot of different things. There's matchmaking and networking, and I'm going to talk about a formula at the end called Inno Plus that we're doing. There's also like just public and political intervention that we do, and some communications around the sector, and bringing also strategic information to people about the subject. So these are our members, and I never speak about Ecotec without thanking our partners, and you will see that we are funded by all levels of government, municipal, provincial, and federal. So our numbers here are different than the ones that were presented by Micah in Ontario. So I think that we don't use the exact same definition, because she said that they have more than us, and I believe her, and these numbers are slightly different. So I think that's are bigger than her numbers. So that's the problem is definitions, I think. So this is how we in clean tech, the different subsectors are divided. We have a lot of them, as you can see. And energy together, you know, if you combine renewable energy, energy efficiency, eco-mobility, and storage, like that's about half are connected to energy. And then the markets of application, like you'll see the biggest number there is public and institutional. So 46% of the companies could have technologies that are applied in that sector. And then, but you know, clean tech is everywhere, as you know, so manufacturing, agriculture, etc. So this is a slightly deeper dive into our different subsectors, and I'm gonna not go through it, but I can make the slides available if you want. This is our greenhouse gas emissions. So you'll see that transportation is the biggest and industries is second biggest. The reason I'm bringing this up is because here in Quebec, like our companies love to know about other countries' green plans and how that can contribute to their reality. So I thought that you would like to hear about our green plan. So this is what I'm going to go into right now. And there's a lot of slides. And again, I'm not going to go through them all, but you can come back or you can Google the green plan. So there's innovation, adaptation, climate change, collaboration. And the first one is electrifying the economy. And I already talked about us having hydro a lot. But if you see like the first, there's several, starting from the third down, you know, there's electric vehicles. There will be no gas-powered cars sold in Quebec anymore after 2035, city buses. So there's a lot of electrification of transportation, which if you recall, was our biggest source of emission. And then there's other things to explore, such as ethanol and gasoline. There are, you know, renewable natural gas, bioenergy, off-grid systems. So this is the plan, and I'm not going to go through them, but you can look at them later. There's several millions for each of these things. So you'll see everybody's talking about hydrogen. There is a hydrogen strategy going on. There will be some funding for batteries. So there's lots of different opportunities for collaboration in all these things. So I wrote here 3 scenarios for like just really tactical, concrete ways to collaborate. Just like, here's your little how-to. If you have companies that are looking to start a company here in Montreal, it's the first line, they call Invest Quebec. I wrote you the link. So this is if we're talking like foreign direct investment, these people help in that regards. At Ecotec, if you want to collaborate with us, the best scenario for us is SMEs who are looking for complementary companies to target each other's markets together. So an example of what that would be if you have, let's say, someone who does environmental monitoring with AI, and they would like to be partnered with a sensor company here, so that maybe the sensor company can go and kind of be trained and sell that AI monitoring technology to some clients here, and vice versa. In your country, your AI company can sell its products and include some of the sensors from our companies. So really mutual beneficial collaboration. And so that's what we do. Call me for that. Feel free. Invest Quebec can also put you in a relationship with me. And then if you have companies who are looking for distributors in Quebec or even clients, that's not what we do. You can send them to their country's Chamber of Commerce, like I wrote some of the links, and you can also send them to their consulates. Often have help for that kind of stuff. So these are our 2 networks, one in Canada and it is the International CleanTech Network. And the last thing I wanted to tell you about was some matchmaking that we've done called InnoPlus. During which we have taken, these are mainly American and some Mexican companies, but I would love to have a go with some European companies as well. So some companies have had challenges, like for example, Miller Beer uses 8 liters of water to produce 1 liter of beer. They wanted to reduce that, and they kind of explained all of this challenge to the companies from Canada, and then the Canadian companies could propose their solutions to them. So that's another avenue of collaboration. And we also have a CleanTech map of the Quebec technology that's like where it is in the world. So that is also a fun little tool to explore. And I am done. I'm going to stop sharing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Merci. Very great presentation. And Quebec is well known for high tech, and particularly clean tech. Hopefully there will be something cooperation between Quebec and corporation and Visegrad 4. There's a lot to be explored. The business should be done and profit make, and new job will be created as a result of this cooperation. Thank you very much, Marta.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have also Mr. David Team, the Senior Director, Global Head of the Public Affairs, Northland Power Incorporation. And I'd like to ask you, Mr. Director, to say a few words.
Well, thank you, Ambassador, and thank you, Your Excellencies, for the great presentations and intel this morning. Very pleased to be here and to give you a bit of background on Northland Power and our recent partnership in Poland, and our interests in the broader region. And I do have some slides. Hopefully this will work as I'm talking. Sorry, I apologize. Where is my? Sorry. Everyone else made it look so There we go.
It's beside your mic.
I got it.
Where? Yeah.
Yes.
Can you see it now?
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
There we go. So as background, Northland Power is a Canada-based independent power producer. We are one of Canada's oldest and largest IPPs. We got our start in the late 1980s. We were part of the off coal or the coal reduction here in Canada. We built facilities in the province of Ontario and Saskatchewan as those crown utilities were looking to get out of or reduce their reliance on coal power. We built and operate some of the oldest onshore wind in Canada, in both Quebec and Ontario. And about 10 years ago, we actually jumped into the offshore wind space in Europe, in the North Sea. And today we are the fourth largest operator for offshore wind in the North Sea, with a growing portfolio across many of the major markets. We have offices in 11 countries across 4 continents, and development teams looking at various markets across the world. As I said, we've opened up opportunities for offshore wind. Offshore wind is a key priority for us as we continue our growth through the 2020s. So we have about 1.2 gigawatts of operating assets in the North Sea in both German and Dutch waters. Additional developments in Germany, across Asia Pacific, in Taiwan, Korea, and Japan. And as I mentioned, we've recently come into a partnership with PK and Orlen in Poland. One of the things that we pride ourselves on is partnerships, and we look to all of our offshore wind and a lot of our onshore wind here in Canada has been done in partnerships, whether with Indigenous communities or local developers. We also look to markets where there are mature supply chains and suppliers that can support our projects, both through the development and construction phase, but then through the operations and maintenance phase. One of the things that Northland prides itself on, and what we distinguish ourselves from some of our competitors, is our long-term ownership. So we develop projects to build and operate through their lifetime, and that's part of why as PK and Orlen was looking for a partner for the Baltic Power project. And I'll give a bit of detail on Baltic Power in a moment, but that was part of the desire or the interest in working with Northland on the development of that project, and looking further beyond just Baltic Power into further opportunities across the region. So we know wind, we're committed, we stay, we consult and communicate with both our partners, our communities, the supply chain, and companies within the market. Why did we look at Poland? Well, I think there's a lot of strong indicators and incentives in terms of why Poland was an attractive market. Investment grade rating, a strong economy, very clear ambitions with respect to energy transition and emission targets and climate change initiatives and policies, a need for new power, and a stable legislative and regulatory framework. So it was we often said that when we entered the European market, doing business in places like the Netherlands or Germany was like doing business in Canada, but it was like Canada but with better coffee. Poland has a lot of those pieces as well, and we see that across the region, right? Not just so Poland. We see Poland as our entrance into the Eastern European markets, looking at further opportunities across the years to support decarbonization efforts, to transfer knowledge and skills and expertise, and find those key collaborations that we can have. So why PKN Orlen? Why Baltic Power? So very quickly, the Baltic Power project, it's a 1.2 gigawatt opportunity in the Baltic Sea, about 23 kilometers off the Polish coast. It is a mid-stage development, so a lot of the key work has been done in terms of permitting and advancing the early stage development of the project. We expect to reach financial close and start construction in 2023 with a completion in the mid-2020s. As it says on the screen here, the partnership is predicated on collaboration, knowledge sharing and transfer, and risk sharing, and supporting that energy transition and economic transition that's happening in Poland. And as I said, we see this as a stepping stone to other projects in both offshore in the Baltic Sea, as well as onshore renewables across many of your countries and economies. We think it's a great example of where a great mix of East-West collaboration and sharing to build on those strengths to mutual benefit as we move through many of the goals and sometimes challenges as you work towards that just transition in terms of the economies. So we're very excited about the opportunity. We think it's the first of many that we might be able to expand upon, and we look forward to working with our partners and finding new partners as we move forward. So thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to meet with all of you today, and I'm happy to take any questions or.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Tim, the Senior Director, the Global Head of the Public Affairs, Northland Power Incorporation. That's the investment clearly in the wind shelf project, but also I hope that your experience in Europe, in Poland, also will lead to more investment also in Visegrad 4. Your resources and your knowledge, it's really great, and hopefully that also will lead and encourage other corporation from Canada as yours example to lead for a different project in Visegrad 4 in CleanTech sector. That's what we count for. As you say, also you choose not only because of the investment prospect, I understand profit driven also, but the stability of the political system, the economy is very stable, very dynamic, open opportunity for more Canadian investment in Europe and particularly in Visegrad 4. This sort of collaboration or cooperation will lead also to transfer of know-how, knowledge, and more experience that people can learn. Our engineer staff, our technician, our labor force can also learn more from Canadian corporation that will lead to more investment as well as the job creation. So thank you very much. I will turn my intentions to V4 Investment and Trade Agency. We have a few today representative from Mr. Sławomir Przygoda, the senior consultant from the Polish Investment and Trade Agency, Mr. Marek Kolampicki, Slovak Investment and Trade Development Agency, as well as the expert from the embassies, Mr. Jan Kubacka, Embassy of the Czech Republic in Canada, and Mr. Gabor Simon, Embassy of Hungary in Canada. So, Mr. Przygoda, I would like to have a few words from you related to the Polish Investment and Trade Agency.
Dear Madam, I would like to thank the ambassador for organizing the meeting. I will start sharing. You see maybe now?
Yes.
My name is Sławomir Przygoda. I'm a senior consultant. I'm working in the Polish Investment Trade and Agency. Topic of my presentation is Canada-V4, collaboration for the economic recovery foresting the CleanTech sector. Some information about Polish market, strategic location in the heart of Europe, an internal market with great potential, highly quality employees. This is important because you can compare, please compare 2 years. You see what is changed in only 9 years. And now it's important the same about population. Population with higher education, 25% in society, 37% of working population, almost 1.5 million students. And this is the same important, over 90% of students speak foreign language, 438 higher education institutes. So this is our base in Poland. Now I want to say something about Poland's electromobility. Poland are strong manufacturing base and top European exporter of V4 batteries, and the largest V4 batteries plant in the world, following by LG Chem. So this is important about batteries and components. And same government support, these two things, over 1.5 billion available for projects supporting, over 200 million in public aid. And the same electric vehicles will be produced in Września, Volkswagen Crafter, the same 7 bus manufacturing plants. And what is important for us, plans of the electromobility Poland construct to develop the Polish V4 Izera. So Polish will start produce in 2024. About autonomous vehicles, is the see that Aptiv and Uber global leaders have already invested in Kraków. A number of cities testing autonomous driving systems, and the same we have Polish startups, for example, Deepsea and Ecotec, working on all-based solution. We have the same information about V4 installed capacity forecast until 2025. I will present some information on the development of the PC sector. This is a forecast on the sector's development up to 2025. I have divided the market into 5 parts. You see micro installation, PV farms, small installation, off-grid, the same important, and in the green certificate system. So the start is growing, and this is from 2025. This is the same important because it's 5 parts. This is example of Polish electric buses. Autosan, Ursus, it's only 3. We have more, 7, but it's only example. The same Polish electric vehicles. And this is Izera, and it's the same 2 examples. About CETA was before, so I can give information, but we spoke about that, so maybe it will be next time. About Northland Power, the same will be information, so I don't need information right now, but what is important, the project is an important step towards achieving carbon neutrality to 2050. So the same information about this cooperation with Northland Power and Big Orlen. And this is the same important information about foreign investment projects in Poland. This is from start year to March 9th, 2025, and you see add what is how many you have number of project, capex, million of euro, and how many employees we have this project. So this is, and you can see this all type of sectors. We can give help about investment and about R&D sectors. Thank you very much, because we don't have more time, so I think that I finish now. I see you.
Yes.
I finish.
All right.
It's come to connect with connections. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So you're done, Mr. Przygoda, yes?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much. That's something introduce us to the nature of the Polish Investment and Trade Agency. It's an agency established a few years ago. They a little bit reshuffle, I would say, the main objective, but today it's a very vibrant, provide not only knowledge and connections, but also to some extent may provide some means of finance connected to Warsaw Stock Exchange or different institutions. So thank you very much again. And I will turn my attentions to Mr. Marek Konopacki, who is the representative of the Slovak Investment and Trade Development Agency. Mr. Konopacki, if you can say a few words. Hello?
Yes, sure. Hello, everybody. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and good morning to Canada. I would like to start to share my screen. However, I'm not sure whether I can do that while my predecessor now stopped the screen sharing. But I will try anyway. Yes, now can you see my presentation, please?
Yes. Yeah, beautiful picture. Yes, beautiful picture.
Excellent. That's Bratislava. That's our capital. Yeah, that's the place where I'm sitting right now. And once again, it's my pleasure to greet you all to Ottawa, to Canada, and to other countries and places where you sit. As said, I'm a consultant of SARIO, what is the abbreviation for the Slovak Investment and Trade Development Agency. We are operating under the Ministry of Economy of the Slovak Republic, and our core services count support and attraction of foreign investments, then the foreign trade support of the Slovak companies abroad, and as the third main mission, allow me to mention also innovation sourcing, which in practice means that we are able to scout or to find for you, your company or various clients, not only Slovak large companies, but also companies abroad, suitable Slovak business partners, research partners, or suppliers according to the needs of the client. There are more than 300 innovative or tech companies in our databases in various sectors, such as Industry 4.0, machine learning, artificial intelligence, IT services, or even green tech and clean tech and many others. As the main focus of this event is to present and foster the clean tech sector of V4 countries. In Canada, let me start briefly also with the Slovak energy mix. Nuclear power or nuclear energy represents still a lion's share of more than 50%, but all renewable resources combined already overtook fossil fuels, mostly coal in a Slovak case, which is on the decline, and its mining should be abandoned or should stop and fully end soon. I would like to draw your attention also to the relatively high share of water energy in Slovakia, as there are dozens of water power plants on numerous Slovak rivers. SARIO is constantly gathering information about various Slovak tech companies working in various segments of clean tech sectors, such as waste management, water management, circular economy, or recycling, agricultural technologies, or energy technologies. Here on this slide, you can see several logos of companies which are in our database. However, this is only a sample, and once you will receive these slides after the event, you can click on each of these logos and you will be redirected to the websites, to the English version of websites of these companies. All of them has fully Slovak origin, and as I mentioned, this is only a sample. For example, company Sensonio, which is on the right bottom, and that the green logo was already mentioned also by Mr. Ambassador Koziak in his speech. Intentionally, I haven't read the last two bullet points on this slide, namely e-mobility and the hydrogen technologies. And there could be an individual presentation on the Slovak e-mobility sector. However, the main message for you in the audience from this should be that the firms in Slovakia operate in almost all aspects and components of e-mobility sector, such as charging stations, electromotors, or battery/charging components. And there are even R&D projects focused on intelligent batteries, for example, Innobat, again, already mentioned by Mr. Ambassador, or project of autonomous driving successfully piloted last year by Siemens in collaboration with the Slovak University of Technology. Furthermore, altogether 17 electric car models of 7 different car brands are being produced in Slovakia as well right now. As you can see there, Volkswagen, Seat, Skoda, and also others. As mentioned, altogether 17 models of 7 car brands. My last 2 slides will be devoted to hydrogen technologies, very promising sector, which is strategically supported also by our government and our ministry. In 2020, Slovakia has adopted its own national hydrogen strategy, and our prominent universities, together with the Slovak Academy of Sciences, have established also hydrogen technology research center. However, needless to say, barely this state support and collaboration in academia would be worthless, let's say, without real impact on various industries and the involvement of private companies into these efforts. Therefore, we have already also our own National Hydrogen Association with more than 20 members. Many of them have already started with practical implementation, production, or utilization of this modern and very promising energy carrier. That would be it from my side. In short, thank you very much for your attention, and I also look forward to the contributions of my fellow panelists, and I will be here also available for potential questions, or feel free to write me an email. As you can see here, my contact details. Thank you very much, and once again, greeting from Bratislava to Canada.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for Mr. Mark Kurnicki from the Slovak Investment and Trade Development Agency. I didn't know that the big cars like Porsche can be run by electric battery, but it's just incredible. Well,
yes, they are produced in Bratislava. Yes, they can be.
Fantastic. Very, very, very friendly people over there in Slovakia, but also a great country to visit as a tourist attractions, not only for the business, which I highly encourage, but a great country, great people, very friendly, and high tech in automotive and auto industry, a great potential for Canadian investors. So thank you very much. We will move to the next person, Mr. Jan Kubacka, representing Embassy of the Czech Republic in Canada, to say a few words about.
Thank you. Bonjour, good morning to those who are watching us.
Good morning.
Okay. Good morning. And good afternoon to actually those who are watching in Europe, especially in the Czech Republic. On the hockey note, of course, hello to all Czech and Slovak hockey fans. Thank you for choosing us over the match, hopefully. And a special thanks goes to the Polish presidency and their team, of course, for organizing this event. I will be sharing my presentation with you as well. I'll be trying to be as fast as possible. We were actually practicing that yesterday with the ambassador. So thank you for your patience. You should see it now, or uploading. Yeah, goes good way. So please just confirm that you can see it.
Yes, yeah, we see it.
Great. So hello again. Let me follow up on what my ambassador already mentioned. The Czech Republic has undergone a significant transformation of its economy in the last 30 years and has the ambition to become an innovative leader in Europe. The Czech Republic is a signatory of international commitments aimed at environmental protection and believes in industry based on clean technologies. And this is confirmed by rising government investments in environmental and energy research. As for the clean tech innovations and our eco innovation performance. According to the Eco-Innovation Scoreboard, Czechia ranks 15th out of the EU member states with an overall score around the EU average. Czech Republic performs quite well in eco-innovation activities, where it ranks 7th, especially in water productivity, implementation of sustainable products by SMEs, and also numbers of ISO certificates 14001 for effective environmental management system. Czech Republic performs also well in socio-economic outcomes, which show wider effects of eco-innovation activities for society and the economy, where we rank also 7th among the EU, where we have actually good performance in employment, in eco-industries, turnover, or exports of products from eco-industries. Our performance is rather still lower in eco-innovation outputs that describe the immediate results of eco-innovation activities, and also in resource efficiency outcomes, which relate to wider effects of eco-innovation on improved resource productivity. The Czech Republic, like I already mentioned, has undergone a significant transformation of its economy, reducing its greenhouse gas emissions by 35% between 1990 and 2019. And despite this drop, the country was the 4th largest GHG emitter in the EU on per capita basis, where most of GHG emissions come from electricity and heat generation. The European Green Deal, a new policy framework to accelerate decarbonization in the EU, requires, of course, to lower emissions by at least 55% by 2030 and to net zero by 2050. And according to McKinsey analysis, it shows that achieving both targets would require additional investments of approximately 245 billion Canadian dollars. Most of these investments would pay for themselves, of course, as new technologies that lower business operating costs are adopted, such as change in power and heat generation fleet, reduce of coal mining and processing, improvement in building sector electrification, etc. And this is, of course, not just a plan, but a great challenge for everybody, and might represent an opportunity also for Canadian companies and our collaboration. The Czech Republic has the ambition to become an innovative leader in Europe, and over the last few years, significant changes occurred in the policy area. Apart from the already mentioned innovation strategy, one of the most important changes made in the eco-innovation area is, however, the expected adoption of the National Strategy Circular Czech Republic 2040, which is focuses on the whole economy and is expected to be adopted by the end of this year. This document formulates the necessary steps to be taken by the Czech Republic through circular economy to make itself resilient to further environmental threats, including, of course, climate change and biodiversity loss. Speaking actually of the circular economy, Czech Republic should be participating in the circular forum mentioned earlier this year, as we definitely have some interesting companies to present there. The Czech Republic has placed strong emphasis on innovation, and innovation strategy has been adopted, and expanding international cooperation, including cooperation with Canada, of course, has been an important goal for us. Research cooperation with Canada can be co-financed with several Czech and EU instruments. Czech Technology Agency has issued already the 3rd international call of the program Delta II, which is focused on supporting joint projects in applied research and innovation, where Canada is actually represented by CRIAC in Quebec and German-Canadian Center for Innovation and Research in Alberta. Czech Republic participates also in Eureka, an international network for R&D, which includes over for the economies from EU, also from EU and Canada, which is represented here by the National Research Council. Eureka offers several funding programs, including in the field of the advanced materials, for example. And there are, of course, the biggest research and innovation EU programs, Horizon 2020, with nearly 80 billion of funding available until 2020, but there are still programs happening. And the new one, Horizon Europe, as the new key funding program with budget over 95 billion euros for the year 21-27. And these programs, of course, tackle climate change, helps to achieve the UN sustainable development and boost the EU competitiveness and growth. And both programs are open to the participants from all over the world and can participate in most of the calls. And actually, in many cases, the EU will fund at least partly the participation of the international partners, including Canada. We live in a time when economic development must go hand in hand with ecological sustainability. A key role in this is played by business and industry. There are several Czech companies whose technologies are, I would say, conquering the world or have great potential to do so at least. Among domestic companies that are focusing on environmental protection, apart from the companies my ambassador already introduced, belong definitely Navigate. I don't know, hopefully you already heard about this company because it's really great. The company is actually a clear example of how the firms are looking at waste as a potential resource. Their Hydel project has the potential to become an absolute unique circular project on a global level. Their technology actually enables the transformation of frying oil into biopolymers, and the final polymer in the form of a powder, which is fully biodegradable in nature, might be processed into granules for various production purposes such as bioplast, natural cosmetics, or sustainable packaging. The company received the Frost Sullivan Award as the first biotechnology in the history of the Czech Republic, and actually will build a European Research and Development Center for biotechnology and circular economy technologies. Another company I'd like to mention also is HEDA, because the Czech Republic is also increasingly coming to the fore in the area of electromobility. It has the right precondition, including not only a well-developed automotive industry, but also the largest lithium reserves in Europe. And actually, the company HEDA developed 3D lithium battery technology, enabling full utilization of renewable energy sources. HEDA battery cells are currently designed primarily for the energy and sector industry, but also for households as well. They can serve as a bank of a large amount of energy at a low price, but with high security. And the last one, but not the least, is actually Coma company producing a modular construction, which is actually a new alternative branch in the construction of buildings. A modular building is form of individual modular units prefabricated on a production line, and it can be used for healthcare projects, gastronomy, offices, and other actually purposes. And the modular construction reduces, and this is the point, the number of used materials such as sand and water as critical materials in context of increasing urbanization, and also amount of waste. And so let me just finish it what already my ambassador touched upon. The Czech companies and researchers have been very active and contributed to fight against COVID-19 from the very beginning. And Czech Republic has been offering solutions to rising demand for health protection equipment by sharing know-how for production of emergency mechanical lung ventilator, Corvent, or safety face shields from Prusa printers, and respiratory mask on 3D printers. And of course, one of the best technology I ever come across is FNano. The company developed an innovative technology that helps reduce greenhouse gas and also prevent the spread of the COVID-19 coronavirus. And we are quite proud that we were able to actually apply this technology at our embassy as well. So this would be a quick overview over the eco environment in the Czech Republic. So thank you very much for your attention.
Fantastic.
And
thank you very much.
as regards to Europe and Canada.
Kowalski, representing the embassy of the Czech Republic in Canada, but also this great opportunity created by the Czech Republic, created by the business community, investors, and hopefully also the Canadian investor will look very favorably for the Czech Republic, the investment, the private and medium-sized sector to create a very positive outcome, including new jobs, new projects, but also a profit for people from corporations. So I would like to also introduce the member of the Embassy of Hungary in Canada, Mr. Gábor Simon, also to say a few words. Mr. Simon, your turn. Hello? Mr. Gábor Simon?
Sorry about that. Thank you very much, Ambassador. Thanks for the possibility. I will try to share my screen as well.
Fantastic.
I hope now you see on my screen. Just let me know, please, because...
Yes, we're seeing here, yeah.
Perfect. So thanks for the opportunity, and my presentation focuses mainly on Hungary for Canadians that don't know so much about our region and our countries. So on the first slide, I'd like to show where we are, who we are. So Hungary is a Central European location, and really the crossroad of the European transportation system, with 4 European corridors crossing the country out of the 10 of the European Union, which is a unique position. No other country has such a crossroad position in the European Union. So our Ambassador Vas Salazar, already touched upon on the climate policy of Hungary just briefly. So really, Hungary joined all EU policies reducing GHG emission. So we reduce 40% by 2030 our emissions, and we do target a 90% carbon neutral electricity production. And the renewable source should be up to the level of 21% from the current 13%. So carbon neutral country by 2050, and we do run a lot of tenders, solar energy projects, and I will talk about it later, also concerning green hydrogen. Not many people knows that Hungary and its industrial production is mainly connected to the high-tech industry. So 70% of the Hungarian industrial production right now is high-tech. Just a few words about the climate and the renewable energy potential. What is unique in the country, maybe compared to other European countries? So we have really a large untapped solar energy potential. It's 2,200 hours of sunshine per year on an average, which is a very good potential for solar developments. The other special point is geothermal possibilities. You can see on the screen the map of geothermal potential, gradient map of Hungary. In a nutshell, geothermal has a big potential, and the country builds on that. And the third source of renewable energy in Hungary is biomass. I brought with me a few interesting Hungarian developments just to highlight the R&D concerning clean energy projects and products. So the first one is an electric commercial vehicle up to 40 tons, developed by Electro in Debrecen. It's already utilized for waste collection, but it could be utilized for other purposes as well. The second company is Thermovat. Thermovat is utilizing wastewater heat of the sewage. It's a proven technology from the early 2000s. Years of early 2000s. So we have many buildings working with Thermovat systems in Hungary. So it reduces really the energy cost of large buildings. And the third company I brought with me is Platio Solar. They developed paving elements made from recycled plastics in order to produce electricity from covered areas. I'd like to speak really shortly about the Canadian investments in Hungary. So Hungary is the major target of Canadian investments, and by far we have the largest portfolio of Canadian companies in Central Eastern Europe, and even compared to many other Western European countries, we have a very serious $9.7 billion portfolio in 2020 of Canadian companies. I highlighted few of them: Cemex from agriculture, Vermilion Energy from the energy sector, CAE from the aviation, and many others from financial investments. In clean energy, we definitely would like to have more companies. We are running a lot of tenders concerning solar possibilities now, but there are other opportunities coming soon as well. Here are our most important contact details, and I would be glad to share these presentation with anyone. And I thank you again for the opportunity, and thanks for the Polish presidency organizing this seminar.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Gabor Simon, representing the Embassy of Hungary, talking about this potential of high-tech, clean tech in Hungary, and hopefully this presentation and will lead to the more contact with Canadian corporation in Ontario and Quebec and around Canada, and then will lead to more projects, good projects, and hopefully this project science, when combined with profit-driven private sector from the medium and small corporation, will also lead to the very positive outcomes for all corporations located in Hungary as well as the V4 countries. We're moving to the next stage, which is the open discussion, but we really ran out of time. So I'd like to have, if there is any of you like ambassadors or our distinguished members of the two panels, say a few words, but no longer than 1 minute. So I will really glad. We have a really productive session, I would say. That's only the beginning, and hopefully the business will find the best way, a very suitable way to contact between Visegrad corporations, science, technology, innovators, as well as a lot of business-minded people with Canada. We hope that there will be more trade, more investment, more very productive product that we can all benefit as a result. Is there any person excellencies that want to share something idea based on what we hear today. Yes, I highly encourage, but no longer than 1 minute. Yes. I'm not hearing, so I will compliment as well as I would say make the final conclusions about today's event. Event dedicated to clean tech, proved that the focus on clean tech sector and climate diplomacy. So we are responsible for the diplomacy as well as for the climate change. We have to face not only business sector, not only science, not only technology, but diplomacy also very encouraged to move to so-called, as ladies say, the climate diplomacy. There are 2 solid steps been built based on clean tech and climate diplomacy. They're very interconnected between climate diplomacy and the policy development, which the stakeholder politician may be responsible, and the economic model that built upon the risk and the profit-driven initiative from the small and medium-sized corporation that underscores environmental and social outcomes and ensures that the transition towards sustainability is good for the people, for Europe, for Visegrad countries, and for Canada. And I not only science, that we something invented, but also how to turn this science outcomes to profit-driven initiative that will finally create good paying jobs for V4 country as well as for Canada. Policymakers, including climate diplomacy experts, economists, business, private sector, inventors, confronted with the challenges of accompanying the recovery from the COVID-19 and creating the conditions for very inclusive and fair economic prosperity while moving towards the climate neutrality to ensure sustainable growth for Visegrad country and for Canada. I sincerely hope that this event will establish new way of using science and in particular advanced modeling techniques, business contact, business science contact, using experience, knowledge, as well as I will highly encourage members of the Visegrad community, the Canadian of Polish descent, Hungarian, Slovak, and Czech, to be much more active to create space for new business in clean tech. It's very important. It's investors and a new technology-driven approach that usually will end up with something that we can benefit all, with clean air, clean water, a better condition for our work space, as well as the profit driven by the corporation, and hopefully the profit will turn to the big corporation listing on the stock exchange, if in Canada or if it's Visegrad 4, will create incredible amounts of wealth that also distributed to the society. So I thank you very much for all of you, ambassadors. I also thank you to Director Robert Fry, Director General from GATS, to all wonderful people from Global Affairs of Canada, Canadian top executive representing different spectrum of province, Ontario, Quebec, as well as the business people that really lead us to the new challenge that we face in the future. And hopefully from the new challenge, there will be great opportunity to create for the private sector, for investors, for profit, dividend, and also for a better life for all of us. So thank you very much for all of you from different sectors, for diplomats, for people from embassies, and people also representing domestic V4 investment agents. So thank you very much and see you next time. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.